What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. If y'all had never been here before, my name is Daniel Williams. This is the Cedar Ridge Chronicles. I want to welcome y'all. So today I'm going to do something I hadn't ever done before. I happened to think about this morning. I'm going to show y'all a few recommendations of how to pick out a form either for yourself or for your clients. I thought that maybe it'd be kind of cool to let y'all know kind of the way I go about it. Now, you can ask people what they want. A lot of people know where they want to have the deer put in their room or in their house, and they'll have an idea of what turn they want and that sort of thing. But to be honest with you, probably 90% of the customers that bring me deer ask me what I think. And a lot of them have no idea what they want done with the thing. So this is my recommendation. This right here is one option. This is a head up mount. It's an offset shoulder. And what offset shoulder means is that this shoulder is showing. It's not straight forward to the wall. Like on this mount right here, you can see that shoulder is straight to the wall and then the head has got a turn to it. Whereas an offset shoulder, that's an offset shoulder there. You can see where the shoulder, you can see it from the front. The deer comes out at an angle from the wall. And what that's going to do is it's going to show a little bit more of the body of the deer. So if somebody wants to see a little bit more detail, a little bit more shoulder, you're going to have that, but they're going to have to make sure that they've got enough cape to be able to come all the way past the front of that shoulder and nearly to the back of that front arm. With a head up mount like this, one thing that you've got is a display of antlers. So, I mean, you don't get to see the face that well. But when you've got a rack that looks like that right there, it's just a perfect, typical, very tall deer with long main beams. And the way that it comes up real high off his head, a pose like that just makes the rack just pop. I mean, that's the first thing you see when you look at that mount is that big old rack. So that's what he decided to go with. Now, on a deer like this, you know, he's got the split G2. One thing that I always tell people, first thing that they think about doing is taking a deer, and if it's got something cool with part of its rack, is to put that part of the rack forward, because I guess they assume that you'd be able to see that better and it's going to display it. But here's the problem with doing that. If you take this deer, this is a left turn. You always go by the direction that the deer itself is facing, not the way it's turned when you're looking at it on the wall. But you can see on its left side, it's got a split G2. Well, with it turned left like that, with it displayed against the wall, you can see that split perfectly. If you were to turn the head the other direction where it was facing like that, those tines line up and you can see how well this side displays. So always go with the back side to display against the wall when you're trying to decide what you want to do on a direction. I'll give y'all another example. This buck right here, this is a head down mount. That's the same exact form as the one in that front room, except the head is down instead of up. Got an offset shoulder. It's kind of a semi-sneak or semi-upright with a head down. And you can see right here on this G2 where it's got this little kicker, and he wanted that showing. And when you look at that straight forward, that thing sticks out like a sore thumb. But if you were to turn this the other direction to put that to the front of the mount, you can see how it disappears. All you can see is the little bitty section sticking out back there, but it lines up with those tines, and all you're displaying is this side over here. So you're going to lose that point. Now on this deer, he's got this big hook coming out the front. If you've got a deer with extra bases, extra points at the base, or even drop tines and stuff, I would recommend putting those to the front. Because what happens if you turn this the other direction to try to display it against the wall, it lines up with that main beam. And you know, right here, I mean, you can see it. But if you back up across the room and somebody's got that thing hanging way up on the wall somewhere, it's not even, I mean, it looks like part of the brow tine or the main beam, depending on what angle you get at. But you turn that deer to the left with that point in the front like that, where it's just sticking right up out of the middle of his head. I mean, you can see that, you know, all the way across the room. It's just going to display really well. All right, now one more example I'm going to give y'all is a deer that's got a weak side on it. This deer right here has got a whole lot of points on one side of his rack. I mean, just loaded up. But it's also the weak side of his rack. This side over here is a bigger main beam, longer tines, everything. You can see right there, let me get over here where y'all can get a good backdrop, just like he's on the wall in your house. You can see right there just how weak that left side is, even though it's loaded up with points. Well, if you try to turn that to where that hook is up against the wall right there with all the points, that double brow tine lines up. You're not going to be able to see both of those, even though you can see the hook on the bottom. And also you can see just how short that main beam is on that left side. You turn it this way and you can see that big side. It almost makes the deer, let me set this down. It almost makes the deer look like he's symmetrical. When you turn it that way, it's kind of an optical illusion and you can't tell how short this main beam is. But also what it does, you get that thing turned sideways like that, you can see that little hook and you can also see that double brow tine. So y'all can see the difference. I mean, that right there almost looks like a 8-point with a short main beam and an extra sticker coming out the base. Where you turn it this way, and I mean, it just kind of looks like a toad. You know, and there's always exceptions. I mean, if there's a certain place somebody wants that deer on the wall and they want it turned the other way, that's fine. You know, customers have got different kind of preferences, but definitely at first take that rack before you ever put it on a form. Even when they drop it off, just take that rack and turn it and let the customer see what it's going to look like at different angles with that, the big side. Like say a deer has got 5 on one side and 4 on the other or something. You can turn that side on the back against that wall and it will show every one of those tines. So anyway, guys, that's my recommendation on that. I hope that this was helpful when y'all go to make a decision on your next deer mount. We'll see y'all in the next video.